order. You know, it's quite an honor to be asked to be here, and that I'm going to follow you, Leah. Wow. Very privileged. It's a privilege for me to be here, and I thank everybody in this room, because I know everybody in this room cares about education, and you care about your community, and I think that's where it all begins. So, honored to be in the same room as always with Kevin Fowler. Cabell Huntington Hospital does so much for the community that is Huntington, West Virginia, and those suffering from substance use disorder, and I thank you so much. So, I need to tell you a joke first before we get started, because I'm going to probably be a little bit of a Debbie Downer, okay? So you have your pick. I can tell you a funny story, a really bad joke, or something from the Oscars. So who wants to hear a funny story? Who wants to hear a really bad joke? And who wants to hear something from the Oscars? Okay, that wins. I thought it might. Okay, so you can tell by watching me on the news and stuff that I'm not really shy. So about a month before the Oscars, the filmmakers from the documentary were at a luncheon out in California, and Elaine Sheldon, if you've never had the chance to meet her, she and her husband Curran are just lovely people. But they went to a luncheon for nominees, and they got to meet with Meryl Streep. And of course they were texting us and sending us pictures. Meryl Streep's seen the documentary and she thinks you guys are really great. And we're like, oh, stop, you know, there's no way, she's just kidding. So at the Oscars, when we were moving from the Oscars, because I was in the nosebleed, it was really cool to be there, but I was like in the third balcony, you know, so. But we were moving to a party afterwards, and I saw Meryl Streep and her entourage about 10 feet in front of me, and, you know, being from this area, I'm like, I don't care, she might not ever know who I am, but I screamed at her, Meryl! So, in a very Devil Wears Prada moment, she had her glasses down on her nose, and she turned around, and she looked at me, and she turned around and came back to me, and she grabbed my hand, and she kissed me on the cheek, and she had said, I love what you're doing in Huntington, and then she floated away. And this whole time, I'm just trying to do this, get out my phone. It didn't work, she was gone. So, anyway, you can believe it or not, there's no proof. You know, as we all know, the opioid epidemic is very complex. And the most innocent of victims are our children. It affects their health, it affects their mental well-being, and it especially affects their learning ability. And this is a problem. We are dealing with a generation of kids that actually have to struggle to survive, let alone thrive. And I feel like it is up to us as individuals and as communities to make their quality of life better and to give them the best opportunity to succeed in life. And let's face it, our future absolutely depends on it. Now, I'm going to ask you to do something crazy here. I want everybody in this room to close your eyes. Everybody got their eyes closed? Okay. Now I want you to imagine that you are a small child, around 8 years old. Both of your parents are suffering from substance use disorder. They're separated and they don't get along very well. You are in the process of being transferred from one parent to another late at night in a parking lot. And by the way, this is a school night. As your father is driving away with you and your young sibling in the back seat, he suddenly pulls over. He needs a fix. He's starting to go into withdrawals. He just needs a little bit so he doesn't end up sick. The needle hits his arm. Within a few minutes, he slumped over the wheel of the car. It's still in drive, and it's moving forward at a slow rate. As somebody who's passing by notices this, calls 911, you, the 8-year-old, you lean over the front seat and you're able to put the car into park. As first responders descend on this scene, you watch as your father becomes very belligerent with police officers. He is pulled from the car, he's slammed to the ground and handcuffed right in front of you. By this time, you're overwhelmed with emotion as you try to comfort your young sibling. Thankfully, firefighters pick both of you up and carry you to a big red truck with cool lights and sirens and tools. In a calm voice, they distract you and try to cheer you up from what is going on in front of your eyes. Despite this event, the next morning, you're back in school. How can you concentrate? Did you get enough sleep? Did you get any sleep? Did you do your homework? Have you eaten? Where's your backpack? Maybe it's in your dad's car that was towed away last night. Remember, you're 8 years old. Do you have the skills to process and deal with your situation right now? Now I want you to open your eyes. Did you feel like you were living that scene? Can you imagine something like that happening? What should happen to those young children? What should happen to those parents of the young children? You know, trauma such as this unfold in our communities every day, not in just West Virginia, but across the country. Currently, there's more than 6,000 kids in the foster care system alone in the state of West Virginia. Thousands of grandparents are raising their grandchildren with little or no support. So, yet despite of this, we are blessed because we have wonderful programs that we have started. We have Handle with Care. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. That's a program that allows a police officer that might have been on that scene to notify a school system. Where's Ryan? Where are you, Ryan? Ryan Sachs? Did he leave already? Okay. So, but Handle with Care allows that police officer to notify that school system that a child was involved in a trauma and give the name. And from there, the teacher can be notified to handle that child with care. We're blessed to have faith community involved heavily. They're starting programs like Backpack Ministries in Huntington out of Lewis Memorial Baptist Church. 70+ children are fed on the weekends throughout the school year that would probably never eat because of that program. You know, we have joined together as a community in Huntington. There are many wonderful things going on with NAS babies, Healthy Connections, things that are really starting to bud from 3+ years of partnerships. But you know what? We still need to do more. So we can do better. Communities can do better. You know, while many children fail to reach their full potential and they bear many scars from the trauma that they endure day in, day out, some are able to adapt and overcome. That's called resiliency. There's a growing number of studies on resiliency, and they have found that there is one common factor in those children that show resiliency. Okay? Of course, I'm going to share it with you, right? That common factor is they each have at least one strong, stable, committed relationship with a supportive adult. That doesn't mean parent. That doesn't mean teacher. It can be anybody. That fact alone should lead us to support and expand existing programs like Boys and Girls Club, A.D. Lewis Center down in Huntington, which I know you support wholeheartedly. Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Good News Club. You know, we have it all, I think, in every school system in Cabell County. So with that, what I want to do is challenge each one of you in this room. I see in this room a lot of strong, stable, supportive adults that could commit to at least one child that is experiencing trauma in their life. And I would like business leaders, challenge business leaders to expand programs to their employees and their extended families to keep those families intact. Because sometimes tearing that family apart and putting a child in foster care is certainly not the answer. What if we took that father that we're very angry with and we got him counseling and we got him help and we healed him and we healed the mother and we kept that family united? What an example that would be to those two small children. So this is what we see day in, day out as first responders. It's not all doom and gloom. I want to share with you that the numbers are getting better in Huntington, and it's because we have a lot of partnerships. We've cut down our silos. We're talking to each other. We're working together. We set our egos aside and do what we need to do because our future depends on it. And I hope that you all do the same, whether your community is here in Hurricane or in Charleston or wherever it may be. Thank you very much.